Welcome to Down to Earth Astrology and Prime Girl Wellness. This is Miss Jenny and I am your astrologer. This video is for the October 21-degree Libra eclipse that is coming up in a couple of weeks. And just so you know, it's being activated right now. Okay, so for those of you who are feeling a little urgency, edge of your seat tension, just like, right? So it's okay, don't panic. So some of this has been the positive ions, depending where you live, because of the storms passing through. But right now, we're definitely feeling the eclipse, because the eclipse is active all this last week of September. So here's what you need to know about the Libra eclipse. The first thing is it's not awful. This is a new moon eclipse, and there's talk about this being a ring of fire eclipse, which should be pretty dramatic to look at. So yay, team. If you can take a peek at it, I would definitely look at it. This particular eclipse is actually going to be very, very good and very beneficial, and for some people even more so and doubly so than other people. And here's why. The 21-degree Libra eclipse is near a fixed star spika. This is a very beneficial, protective fixed star that's very, very good and supportive. Okay, brings lots of rewards and blessings. You know, assume you've earned these things. So for people who are born with planets anywhere near that 21 degrees Libra, you're really going to feel the effects of this, and you're going to be getting a lot of benefit from this in shovelfuls. Theoretically, assuming you've earned these things. You know, if you haven't, it's okay. Just work harder for the next time these cycles roll around and it's your turn to get the winning ticket. So there's that. Now, the other thing is this particular eclipse, because it's a new moon eclipse, we know it sets up things to move forward. But I will warn you, this particular eclipse is operating in such a way because it is squaring Pluto. It's wide, but it's there. I don't like wide orbs, but with eclipses, they're like supermoons. You give them a wider orb than usual. And with that said, it will absolutely make contact with Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. It will definitely poke that Pluto and involve that in its activities. Now, remember when we said about Pluto and this particular Pluto transit, Pluto in the late degrees of Capricorn retrograde is the cleanup crew coming back to finish the job. And we've been watching this entire time. It is definitely the cleanup crew. The trash is taking itself out. This particular new moon eclipse poking at Pluto also indicates there's a real possibility that this particular eclipse is going to take the trash out of your life too. You may not even know it's garbage until it's gone. So look for the possibility that things may be inconveniently interrupted or removed from your life as a means to create tremendous pathways for much greater good to come into your life. You may not like or be prepared for what has to exit to make that space, but it's there. And understand that that's why it's happening, because this particular eclipse is a very good one because of that fixed star. The other reason this eclipse is very good is because at the same time that this eclipse happens on the 14th, Mercury and Venus will be in mutual reception. Venus is the dispositor of that eclipse. Libra, Venus rules Libra, so we look at Libra as this dispositor, which will be in mutual reception with Mercury. Mercury being Libra, Venus is in Virgo. They're literally in a position to help each other, right, or to trade places if they need to. So this by itself is going to give us a tremendous amount of assistance and support in finding better, easier, less traumatic solutions to evolve, to move ourselves forward. So for those of you who are taking this eclipse, be prepared for some wild rides, right? And look for this eclipse to kick off. We're setting up literally for spring of next year around February. So this could take up to February for that tree to shake out whatever it's about to drop on you. But it's there, and it won't be bad. That's the most important thing you got to know. It will not be bad. It will be good. It may be a little shaky right now. Like, oh my God, but it will be good in the end. Also, notable things that are happening around this eclipse. Saturn will reach 0 degrees Pisces at the time the eclipse occurs. 0 degrees of any sign is a reset point, right? It's literally when everything comes back to zero, take it all back to zero and start all over again. So it's a reset point. This is happening with Saturn, and we've been watching Saturn in Pisces do its job all year long. Oh my God. Oh my God. Talk about paying your karmic dues, man. Saturn in Pisces has taken no prisoners because it's the last sign of the zodiac. It's the last personal planet in the solar system for us, because once you get past Saturn, up until modern times, nothing else existed. So in terms of the physical world, Saturn is the limit, right? And Saturn has been making people pay their dues. So it's been a good thing. Not easy, but good. Saturn will officially reach its direct station, right, where it literally comes to a standstill and then finally moves forward and away from the reset point, November 4th. So this whole month of October, especially right after this eclipse hits, it's a reset. Everything is a reset. Everything's being taken back to zero or ground zero, and we're going to start all over again, and we're going to get it right this time. We're going to get it right. So watch for that, a lot of that kind of vibe happening in your life, and also watch for people who may try to use this time, you know, as their last gasp chance to do whatever. If it is not part of the great grand evolutionary plan, which, you know, for those of you who buy into it, has a lot to do with the goddess having risen and taking her natural place as co-ruler of the universe, because God didn't do this alone, right? And women have as much value as men do when it comes to, you know, the evolution of life and protecting life and being here, all this good stuff. Listen, you can thank your mother for being here, right? You may not know who your father is, but you'll always know who your mother is. So there's a balancing of the scales and a returning to equanimous awareness and exchange in the world that has been going on for more than a few years now, actually more than a decade. And we're finally reaching the literally the end point, the reset point, the final reset point for this. So for those people who have been benefiting from the old ways, right, the old toxic patriarchal systems, you know, who have benefited from it. It's not just men. There are some women who benefit from being, you know, this and throwing other women under the bus. Like, oh, we know these women, right? All of this is coming to its natural conclusion, which is its natural, slow, screaming dinosaur death. Extinction. It is coming to its extinction, and we're okay with that. So watch this eclipse and watch that first week of November for the reset, the great reset. And this eclipse, in terms of your personal lives, look for activation between now and February. Good. I promise you, good things are coming in if you just keep yourself open and receptive to the possibility that there are things afoot that are smarter and more invested in your best well-being than you are or that you can imagine. Okay, so that's that. We'll get to the October horoscope shortly. I just want to give you this eclipse update because we are literally under the vibe of the eclipse right now in this last week of September. Everybody's feeling it. And circumstances are certainly contributing to them. Also, too, in case you didn't know, right, the eclipse, when an eclipse passes over, it has a trajectory that it follows. It has like a trajectory that it follows. So the thing about it is, it will not pass over the entire globe and cover the surface of the entire globe with its shadow. It will, in its path, leave a shadow, right, over certain nations and countries as it's traveling, depending on where it's, you know, is in relation to us. This particular eclipse, the path of the shadow of the path will be traveling over North America, which means that this time around, we will be going through some tumultuous and game-changing events, which should be for the better because this is an eclipse conjunct spika, and we've got Mercury and Venus mutual reception dispositing that eclipse, and Saturn's at the reset point. So we'll watch and see what happens. Now, if you live here in the U.S., you know, like yeah. So we'd like to have normal back again, you know, whatever normal was. And we're getting there, but this last week, we're all feeling on edge. And of course, in the UK, there's the thing with Russell Brand. And I looked it up, and apparently the Russell Brand thing is made worse by the UK government calling for internet agencies or other private entities to censor and demonetize Russell Brand, take him off the internet or something like that. But that is specific to, because they're reading up on it, that is specific to internet laws that the UK has recently enacted to try and police and patrol the internet to prevent the proliferation of child sexual abuse materials being transferred on the internet. Unfortunately, the law was very badly written. They've had numerous criticisms of it from people in tech industries and all that sort of stuff, and free speech advocates, yada, yada, yada. You know, and they've amended it a couple of times, and it's still not good, but they've passed it anyway. And of course, the problem is when you have people in positions of power, you know, especially with ambiguously written laws, right? It's very, very easy for people to use that at their own discretion, you know, whenever they kind of feel like it without really a whole strong justification. If something's written loosely enough, you can justify it for use for pretty much anything. And that's a lot of the problem right there. So that has come up, and that's an issue in the UK. By the way, in case you didn't know, this internet free speech law, whatever this internet law is that you're talking about, that they just enacted, that they're using to try and shut Russell Brand down, it is apparently the most strict set of laws in the entire globe. Like literally, it's nobody has anything nearly as severe as this law that was passed through in the UK. And it was badly written. So, you know, you can imagine this thing gets misused. So we'll see how that goes. That's kind of interesting. So, I mean, we could say that it's Big Brother and, you know, the government trying to, you know, clamp down on the little people, blah, 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 you know, the elites, yada, yada, yada. But I think it's important to remember, because remember, Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, the last degrees is the cleanup crew. And right now, Saturn is going to 0 degrees Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. It's the reset point. I think a lot of this has more to do with a few people in a position of power who have too much power and not enough ethical understanding of anything or care. They don't care about anything but themselves. Selfishness is always the root of these problems. Selfishness and greed that are arbitrarily, that was the word, arbitrarily using these things to their own advantage or for their own entertainment, regardless of how it hurts other people, because they don't actually care or are able to think that deeply about anything. And this is kind of what we're getting. So I don't know that it's the government per se. And, you know, listen, by the way, if for those of you who are all anti-government, I want you to understand something. Don't forget, either A, you helped vote these people into office, right? Or B, you helped vote these people into office because you didn't vote at all. So you're just as complicit in these people being in office as the rest of us. So think about that for a second. All elected officials are reflections of mass consciousness, right? Because it's what we allow, what we tolerate, or what we have supported into their current positions. So the real problem, my friend, lies within us, not with them. They're a symbol of what we are tolerating, what we have allowed to come into existence because we created this monster. Ultimately, we've got to get right within ourselves, right? So that we stop electing these people in the office. And Florida and Texas, I'm looking at you. And North Carolina and Georgia. Anyway, so that's your eclipse report. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Hang on to the faith and the confidence and the belief that it is going to be good because, baby, it will be good. It will not come without its challenges because Pluto is involved. It's poking Pluto, right? The cleanup crew, and Saturn simultaneously is hitting its reset point. So it will be a colorful October. It will be a colorful October. I will have the October horoscopes ready for you shortly. You guys hang in there. I'll talk to you soon.